In a small, isolated town nestled between dense woods and rolling hills, the legend of Bloody Mary was a tale whispered among children and shared around campfires. It was said that if one stood in front of a mirror, in complete darkness, and repeated, "Bloody Mary," 3 times, the vengeful spirit would appear, her twisted visage haunting the depths of the reflection. As dusk settled over the town, a group of teenagers gathered at an old, abandoned house on the outskirts. Their breaths hung in the chill air as they nervously dared each other to summon Bloody Mary. "It's just a silly story," Josh scoffed, but the unease in his voice betrayed his bravado. Amelia, bolder than the rest, stepped forward. The dim light from their flashlights cast eerie shadows on the decrepit walls. Her reflection wavered in the dusty mirror as she chanted the words. The room seemed to hold its breath, the silence punctuated only by the flicker of candles they'd lit for effect. At first, nothing happened. Nervous laughter echoed through the room. Then, a whisper, barely audible, snaked through the air. Fear clutched at their hearts as they strained to listen. Slowly, the reflection in the mirror began to distort, warping into something grotesque and unfamiliar. A blood-curdling scream tore through the room, and the mirrors shattered into 1,000 shards. The candles sputtered and died, plunging the room into darkness. When the teens dared to light their flashlights, Amelia was gone. In her place stood an otherworldly figure, her eyes gleaming with malevolence. Panic consumed them as they fled the house, their screams echoing in the night. The once distant legend was now a chilling reality. They tried to convince themselves it was a trick, a collective hallucination, but deep down, they knew something ancient and evil had been awakened. Over the following days, a sense of unease settled over the town. People reported seeing strange figures lurking in mirrors, distorted reflections that seemed to move of their own accord. Nightmares plagued the residents, dreams of a woman with matted hair and hollow eyes. The legend was no longer confined to campfire tales, it had taken root in their reality. As weeks passed, the once thriving town grew silent. Windows remained tightly shut, and mirrors were covered or removed. The forest that had once seemed inviting now held an air of foreboding. Desperation hung in the air as the townspeople searched for a way to banish the vengeful spirit that had invaded their lives. In the midst of this chaos, a historian named Evelyn Harlow arrived, drawn by the reports of the haunting. With a determined spirit, she delved into the town's history, unearthing tales of a woman named Mary Hawthorne who had been accused of witchcraft centuries ago. It seemed that Mary's spirit had indeed been conjured, and now, she sought revenge on the descendants of those who had wronged her. Evelyn's research led her to a dilapidated cottage deep within the woods, a place where Mary had lived and suffered. Armed with ancient texts and a heart full of determination, Evelyn performed a ritual in hopes of putting Mary's spirit to rest. As the incantation echoed through the woods, a furious wind howled, and the ground shook beneath her feet. Then, silence. Evelyn returned to the town, her exhaustion etched into every line on her face. Slowly, life crept back into the once haunted streets. Mirrors were cautiously unveiled, and laughter cautiously returned. The legend of Bloody Mary seemed to fade into the annals of history, a cautionary tale for generations to come. But legends have a way of lingering, of being whispered in the darkness. As the years passed, the townspeople never forgot the terror that had gripped their lives. And in the quiet moments, when the moon hung low and the wind whispered through the trees, some swore they could still hear the faintest echo of a woman's voice, carried on the breeze. And so, the tale of Bloody Mary endured, a reminder that some legends, once awakened, can never truly be put to rest.